What up, OGs? We are back, episode 128 of the OG Sessions podcast going down right now. And of course, I'm here with my brother, Joey Allen.
Yo. Turn me down a little bit.
You loud?
My headphones.
Is
Holy
it?
shit. That's why he was complaining so much. Wow.
Well, we were kind of messing with it a little bit before we started. Is that better?
Oh, that's so good right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was turned up a lot, bro.
Jeez.
Poor guy.
How you doing?
Not too bad. How you doing?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah, no, so, dude, super fire episode. We're recording this intro after the episode's already been recorded, and I'm stoked on this one, bro. The guest came through. He did a sound check session. One of the most unique...
I ain't gonna lie. I might be the most starstruck by this episode.
Really?
Just because, like, going through his Instagram and, like, seeing everything that he's done and the people that have, like, talked to him. And
100%.
Like it's cool.
The
and
dude, he has motion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of the craziest motion that we've had on this podcast from a guest. I mean, shout out to him, bro, because for one, he's so talented. And I didn't realize, like, I've never actually tried to drum before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure I've, like, kind of messed around with some shit before. Like, if I
did a little pencil tapping on the desk,
definitely done some pencil tapping. But, like, when he had the whole setup in here and he's like, you guys want to try? I was like, fuck yeah.
I was kind of scared.
I kind of was too. I was like, I don't want, like, because it just feels, so new. And, like, I'm not even gonna lie, when we first kind of started going after it, like, the fact that he can, like, rapid fire his hands back and forth so quickly, and he knows
I try to do like the most simple thing that he did, brother, and I'm like, it's like I'm having a stroke. I'm like, what do I hit? Like, it's just crazy.
Dude, I'm fucking stoked about today's guest. Seriously, shout out to Greg for coming through today. Like, an absolute legend in the game, and also just like a very genuine dude. You know what I mean? After the conversation was over, I was like, who would have thought that, like, a guy with this much motion is also just like a great human outside?
I want to be his friend.
No, 100%, bro. I can't wait to see him do like a live show, and we can go check him out at, like, in, his realm. Like,
it's coming.
Dude, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited. One thing that I wanted to talk about, very negative. So I'm totally switching the vibe here very early with this one. But, bro, I'm so fucking pissed off. I want this company to suffer as much as possible.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Fuck StubHub. Okay, so everyone knows about StubHub. It's like a ticket sharing thing or whatever. For Christmas last year, I got me and Cassidy tickets to go see Rufus Du Sol in Miami. Mm-hmm. So huge group. Cassidy's never seen him live before. I've seen him, and I was like, it was one of the best experiences of my life. So I was like, I really want to do this with her, right? Got these tickets. They were like, I think they're probably like 150 a piece, maybe, or like maybe $100 a piece. Was stoked, you know what I mean? And then a bunch of stuff came up in like January, February, where me and Cass are pretty much like, okay, we're not going to be able to make this show. Like, we have so many things going on. Like, it was just not going to happen. Like, we basically had to like cancel the show, sell the tickets, right?
Yeah.
I went to go sell the tickets. The tickets were like $350 a piece at this point. So I'm like, oh, I'll sell these.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll make some money off this real quick, like, for sure. List the tickets. Within like 2 hours of me listing them, they sell. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I'm stoked, right? I'm thinking I'm about to get this money.
Did they sell for more than what you pay for them?
Yes, that's what I just said. They were like $150 a piece when I bought them, and I just sold them for $350 a piece. So I'm stoked, right? Like, I'm very excited. Didn't even realize that I had to wait until the event to get my money. Like, I thought when you sell them, like, those aren't my tickets anymore. They're that person's. They can do what they want with them. I'm getting my money. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's not how it happens. You get your payout after the show happens. So the show happened on like May 6th or something like that. Yeah. So like 3 or 4 days ago, the show went down, and I'm expecting to get my tickets, right? The day of the show, I get a email. Thank God I was checking my email. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I get an email that says you have 1 hour to upload your tickets and basically transfer them to this new buyer, which, mind you guys, I've already done. Like, it does say whenever you sell the tickets, like, okay, upload your tickets so it can go into their platform, and then it can send it to the buyer of the tickets, basically. Already went through the whole process. So now when I'm trying to transfer the tickets after I get this email, there's no tickets for me to transfer. I don't have the tickets. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I go contact Ticketmaster. Meanwhile, I'm like at the beach. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm have a good day.
Yeah, literally, bro. And they're like, you have 1 hour to transfer these tickets or the whole transaction is voided. I'm like freaking out, bro. Like, I'm contacting Ticketmaster. Of course, it's like someone that doesn't speak English is like trying to transfer these tickets, and like it's like just this whole thing. It's so difficult, right? Finally, I like was able to kind of like not retransfer them, but like re-download a version of the tickets and then put them on the platform. They say I'm all good. 30 minutes later, you need to transfer these tickets. If you don't transfer these tickets within the next like 20 minutes or something, then the whole transaction is voided. And I also kind of feel bad for the people that are about to go to this show at Rufus Du Sol in like 30 minutes. Bro, I'm like freaking out. Like, couldn't figure out how to get all this shit happening. Like, whatever. finally get on the phone with StubHub. I'm like talking to their support team, and I mean, like, you know, bless these people's heart. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they get like problem calls all day long. You know,
I'm sure you weren't the nicest to them.
No, I actually really was. Wow. At first, I'm not even gonna lie, because I'm trying to get my money. I'm not sitting here being like, oh, fuck you guys, keep the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get my money. And so, was I frustrated? Hell yeah. But at the same time, I'm trying to get my tickets. Or I'm trying to get my money for the tickets. Long story short, I wasn't able to like transfer the tickets in time. I have now called, at this point, like of us recording this episode, I've been on the phone with StubHub probably 6 individual times, just trying to figure out how can I get my payout for these tickets. I did everything they asked me to do literally the day of. Long story short, bro, like I am now in a position where in the next 5 days, I will be getting my money for these tickets. But the hoops and shit I had to jump through to make this happen, bro, has been the most stressful experience. You would think like just selling a ticket, like your tickets online would be super easy, right? So frustrating. They were pretty much like at a point to where they were like, oh, well, you didn't get the tickets uploaded? No money. You know? And it's like, that's just $250 down or actually $300 down the drain from me buying the tickets, or a potential like $700 down the drain that I could have made off the tickets. And so, I don't know, just my L of the week this week is StubHub. It's been extremely frustrating. If you were in my position, bro, you would know like this is, I mean, we're not rich. Like $300 for us is like, you know, especially when you spend it on like a product that you're not getting, is like just it fucking pisses you off, bro. Yeah. And so, yeah, my L of the week this week is definitely StubHub. I am just so frustrated with them. I will never use StubHub again. StubHub, do not try to sponsor this podcast. It is not happening. It's a no. It's a no. It's a big fat no. But no, let's jump into a more positive note.
Let's do win of the week.
Let's do win of the week, brother. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is win of the week. Episode 128 going down.
I'll go first this time.
Go ahead, brother.
I got 2 to counteract your L of the week.
Ooh, okay.
One of them, I know you told me not to do it, but I'm getting fresh harvest from our garden, brother. I had green beans. I had a whole 2 servings. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's just the first harvest. Full 2 servings for dinner for me and Morgan the other night, and it's just so cool going to the backyard, cutting up all these green beans and then cooking them.
I will allow you to use plants as your win of the week this week.
Okay, well then I'm going to add, because I also picked, same day yesterday, I picked 12 cucumbers off my plants.
Damn.
Well, I'm growing. Call me Farmer Joe.
No, good shit, bro. Because, I mean, I saw the pictures that Morgan was posting on social media the other day. I was like, damn. Like, you were, the last time I've been over to your house, like, they were just seeds, pretty much. Like, within dirt, like, a month, bro.
I'll be growing.
Yeah, shout out to you, bro.
And then second win of the week is random, and it's work related. When you go to a job and it goes exactly how it needs to the first time, because I can't tell you how many times, I don't do a lot of residential work, but there's a reason, because when you go to a house to fix somebody's electrical work, you're going behind like 10 other electricians that have worked there, and you never know what the fuck is wrong, like what's in the walls, how things are wired. But today I had a job, and it was go do this, and it was there was just so much room for error, and everything went great. And I gotta appreciate that.
No, dude, for sure. I definitely know that feeling too, because we've both worked those like blue collar jobs before, especially with multiple other jobs in the past, where you're expecting one thing to happen and then you get there and it's a complete shit show.
You think it's a half day, it turns into a 12-hour day.
Oh, 100%, bro.
It'll piss you off.
That's a good win of the week. That's a good one. I like that. My win of the week. My win of the week is my mom, for multiple reasons.
Mine too.
So easy.
Sorry.
Easy. You had your turn. National Nurses Week was this week, and my mom is a nurse, so shout out to my mom. Also, Mother's Day is coming up in 3 days, so shout out to my mom once again. But it also just had me thinking, bro, because when I first started this podcast, I'm talking before I even recorded my first episode, and it was just an idea. The only person that knew about it, besides like maybe a couple friends and you, was my mom. And my mom has always been that person like in my life where she'll support me regardless of what it is. And I'm sure when I came to her, I know for a fact she had no idea what a podcast was. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, I'm about to like do this, you know? And there's certain people in my family, I'm not going to sit here and like diss my family, but there are certain people in my family who literally just found out I have a podcast. Yeah. Because I don't have any desire to tell them about it. They're just the type where they're going to shoot it down. They're not going to support
on the
you
internet.
With whatever. But dude, my mom has supported me with this show. Us with this show. Like, my mom watches every episode. She will go and comment on every single episode, like details about the thing, like about like what we talked about. They are like, you can tell she actually listens and she actually cares, bro. And like, I don't tell my mom thank you enough, and I don't like, sometimes I just kind of like don't think about it very much, like how lucky I am to have a mom that supports me the way that my mom does, bro. And like, I mean, seriously, like I'm fucking almost emotional right now because it's like sometimes like earlier this week, I brought up something about the show. I was like, yeah, you know, I really want to start doing this with the show, but like, I just don't have the time for it, don't have the money for it, don't have whatever. And my mom like helped take some stuff off my plate so that I could like do more things with the pod. And I don't know, bro, like sometimes I just don't thank her enough, bro. So my win of the week is my mom. Not just because it's Mother's Day, not because it's fucking Nurses Week, but because like, bro, my mom has never told me not to do this. Or my mom's never even given me like a negative comment about the pod, you know? When in reality, we don't make a ton of money with this. There's a lot of reasons why this couldn't be our full-time job. You know what I mean? But like, we still, obviously me and you look at it as like, this is our end all. Like, this is what's going to make us like rich one day. But for my mom, bro, she's always been on that same wavelength. And I think there's even been times when me and you have been in relationships, not right now, but in the past where maybe our significant other hasn't even really supported us with this shit. You know what I mean?
We've been there.
Yes, you have.
Brother.
No, for sure. We've both been there, bro. But no, just shout out to my fucking mom, bro. Like, I'm very grateful for her.
Shout out to her.
I know Mama's watching this right now. Mom, I fucking love you. And to all the mothers out there, congratulations
Happy Mother's
to y'all.
Day. Love
Happy
you, Mama.
Mother's Day. This is y'all's time. So from the OG Sessions podcast, we love the mamas.
We love you, Mama.
We love you.
I got a random shout out.
Go ahead.
My neighbor, Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. He goes on his dad walks. He just had a kid. He goes on dad walks all the time. He listens to our podcast on his dad walks.
No way.
I'll come outside and he's walking down the road. I hear our voices and I'm like, that's us. And I get to talking to him and he's like, yeah, I listen to it all the time. So, and he brought up Road to 200. He was like, yeah, we're going opposite ways. I'm trying to go down. You're trying to go up. And I was like,
oh my God.
It's just so cool that like,
bro, shout out Ryan.
Shout out Ryan.
That is sick. Dude, that like is one of the things that warms my heart the most is when you run into somebody that's already seen the pod.
And they talk about it.
And they talk about it.
Something.
And I'm like, oh my God, you listen to us talk with the bug. And sometimes I feel like our conversations are so stupid.
So stupid. I don't even listen to them half the time.
I know, literally. If I wasn't editing the podcast, I probably wouldn't listen to it. You know what I mean? But sometimes I want to re-listen to it to like see where we can kind of like,
be better.
Like crisp it up a little bit more and make things like more enjoyable or whatever. But dude, no, shout out Ryan. That's a fucking huge one. Yeah. No Road to 200 update this week. I know we've both been grinding, but we were supposed to step on a scale this week. And honestly, bro, I didn't either. So
somebody did say my jeans are too tight and they hadn't said that before about these jeans. So is
it these jeans? These ones specifically?
Yeah.
I feel like that's your normal tightness when it comes to jeans.
They're a little tighter.
I mean, they look a little tighter. That's for sure. I mean, you've always had good legs though.
Thank you.
Shout out to my brother. Like I'll tell you, that's
not always actually, because for the first like 3 years I was working out, it was straight arms, brother.
Really?
I didn't look at my legs.
No, you always like once you kind of got dialed in with everything, your legs like you got some good legs quick, brother.
It's easy when you're short.
I wasn't gonna say it. But beard. I will say one thing about today's guest is everyone that watches this show knows
strong beard.
I love your fucking beard, bro. I always give you your props when it comes to that damn beard, bro.
Hold on, I picked the wrong today. I got home from work and I cut this bitch off. It was just getting a little too long.
And our guest shows up with a James Harden.
The best fucking beard I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, well, damn.
So funny, bro. No, shout out to Greg and shout out to his beard, bro.
Yes,
but let's go ahead and jump into the episode so people can see it.
Let's do it.
What up, OGs? Episode 128 going down right now. Of course, I'm here with my brother, Joey Allen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm excited for this one, bro.
Stoked.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. We got a huge guest in the building today. He is a professional drummer, the man himself, Greg Hersey. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah.
Cool.
Nailed it.
How you doing, bro?
Great, man. How about you?
Dude, great. Glad to have you in the studio today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming through and doing the sound check session, too. Like, by the time this episode comes out, the sound check will have already been dropped, too. And, bro, it's like I have a newfound respect for it. After trying your drums after like you had done the sound check, I'm like, oh, okay, I could probably do something like this.
Like we got a mental issue. Like you hear him, you see him go through all his sets, and then he's like, you want to try it? And then we're like, duh. And it's like, okay, this is hard.
Yeah, no, dude, seriously, respect, bro.
Thank you.
How long have you been doing this shit for?
Honestly, I just grew up with it. I've been playing my whole life. my dad was a player and still plays. So as long as I can remember, there's been a drum set in the house. And, I have 2 younger brothers and, my mom can play. So I just grew up in a very musical household. And that's all I know, man. It's just all drums all the time.
Did you guys ever have a stepbrothers moment where it's like, don't put your nuts on my drum set?
Well, there was never just one drum set in the house. There was multiple at any given time. So everybody kind of had their own thing. So yeah,
that's funny.
God, I feel bad for your neighbors, bro. Goodness gracious. I felt bad for the neighbors that it's a great tune, so it's like I don't feel that bad.
But if you're not ready for it, it's gonna startle you.
Bro, the people in the next building over are like having a meeting or something, and you're just banging.
You hear the Dougie?
Yes. Yeah, no, it was cool how you did the transition too into teach me how to Dougie from like the beat that you were already doing.
Yeah.
And what was that intro like? Whenever you first started, what was that from? That sounded so familiar. Like it was like from the intro of a movie or something.
I mean, it's probably been done somewhere, sometime. It was just, a very basic rhythm. Just kind of started out with that and built from it. So it wasn't anything really specific. I just kind of picked a really like open, simple rhythm and just went with it.
Cool. So you can like freestyle like that on the spot. Like you can kind of just, let your hands fly and just do whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
That's interesting, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Dude, salute to you, bro, because that shit is not easy. So, no, let's just talk about, like, the process, like, growing up and doing this shit, bro. Like, at what point were you like, okay, I can make the leap and do this, full-time and become a professional at it?
That's tricky, man. I mean, even towards the end of high school, I kind of made that decision of like, all right, I think I'm going to jump into music. And I had no idea what I was getting into. It's like a full-time, music student, studying like classical music and drum set. And I was definitely in over my head. So originally grew up in like South Florida and then moved to Ocala, Florida. Came up here to Jacksonville, UNF. So I'm not from Jacksonville, but I've been here for like 14 years now.
God dang, bro.
But I love it, man. I love Jacksonville. People hate on it, but
Jacksonville's
whatever.
great.
Yeah.
We're the most underdog city in Florida. That's how I like to put it, bro, because it's true. Like Jacksonville gets a terrible rap, but if you live here, you do love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially like with the music scene, like there's so many different kinds of genres that are thriving here right now. And so whenever you, like, obviously a lot of people that are watching this episode have seen the clips on Instagram and have seen the motion that you have on social media. I want to jump right into that, bro. Like, have you always been kind of posting these clips of you drumming on social media and then one just went? Or like, how long have you been like strategically kind of, building your personal brand?
Yeah, so, I started that in college. I was seeing some other people doing it, and that's when like Instagram, I think you could like max out at like 15-second videos. Like, so that was kind of the time I was like in the practice room, just kind of like posting stuff and I guess like pushing that level of creativity and, just trying to, I guess like create my sound and my brand and just get my name out there. Like that was part of music school was like, what's the next step once you're out? You're kind of in your bubble and, it's scary to think like what's next coming out of school. It's like, it's sort of the unknown. So just trying to, network, brand myself. And so I was doing those videos pretty early on my original account, just stuff that I thought was interesting for me. And, I built up my page pretty good, had like, early on like 50,000 followers. And then I lost access to that account just like through two-factor, whatever. It was like a whole mess. And like trying to get in touch with like Instagram's team, just run in circles, man. So I lost access to that account. I was like, well, shit. So I kind of took that as an opportunity to like start fresh and, keep it authentic. And like the following that I was getting, that was going to be true and genuine. And, cause you never know really who's following you or sort of the engagement with that. So, it was like maybe like 3 years ago, I just kind of started from zero and then, just kind of doing my thing and recording and doing, definitely the hip-hop stuff. Like I'm a big hip-hop guy, and especially with drums and percussion and, doing these different arrangements and covers. And some of that shit just blew up, man. And, I tell people all the time, like, you never know who's watching. As soon as you post it, like, it's out of your control.
For sure.
So it's been a lot of fun, and like when that stuff blows up, like it goes, and it's really funny.
Have you ever had any interactions with famous people? Because like some of these videos have 450,000 likes, and it's an insane video. Like there's like music people gotta love it.
Oh yeah. I mean that's like your definition of like who's famous to you. But I guess some notable people. Oh shit, like. I think for me, like the producer Timbaland, did all of like, Justin Timberlake, Nelly Furtado, like in the world of music and as a producer, like that he's got it, man.
Yeah.
Like Timbaland is, but a lot of rap artists. When I posted the Dougie video, the first one that I did, Dougie Fresh, which we're going like way back to 1970s, 1980s, like the start of hip hop, and he kind of saw that. His manager reached out to me and was like, yo, I want to collaborate with you. Like, we're going to do something big. So that kind of that one video led me to performing at the 2023 Essence Fest in New Orleans, which was, that was crazy. That's a whole story, man. So we can get into that. But, we played at the Superdome in New Orleans in front of 60,000 people, and it was all from that video.
That's crazy.
Dude, the power of social media and like how you spoke on losing your account. Like we've had plenty of guests on this show where they've got a huge Instagram following and they lost their account early on.
Yeah.
And like that's like the horror stories from that of trying to get in touch with Instagram and trying to get them to like,
never goes in your favor.
Never goes in your favor. Like it seems like it's the most like shitty support system of any company. And but dude, I mean that's insane. Like the power of one video.
Yeah.
I want to talk about like Essence Fest though.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's
that's
insane.
crazy.
Like I've heard about it before, but I don't actually know like the details of it. Dive into it, bro.
So, the Essence Fest is just this big festival every year. And I want to say it's in New Orleans every year. And, it's one of the festivals that celebrates, it's the largest festival celebrating Black culture. And it's incredible, man. I was on stage with like the OG hip hop artists. We're talking Sugar Hill Gang, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, like, all the OGs that have like been through it that my parents grew up listening to. And, I'm in the room, like rehearsal with them. I'm just like, how am I here, bro?
Yeah.
Like I'm looking around, I'm like, what the fuck? So drive to New Orleans, like bring all my drums. And, even before that, Dougie Fresh's manager reached out to me and was like, it was months kind of in the making. She's like, Doug saw your video. He wants to bring you on for this like really special event. So I was like, all right, dope. And there was a couple months where I just heard nothing. It was kind of a sitting duck. I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen. It'd be really cool, but it's I got nothing to lose with this. Like, there's nothing riding on this. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, whatever. So it was literally 4 or 5 days before, and I had like his number saved in my phone, and I'm just at home, and my phone rings and it says Dougie Fresh. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So I pick up the phone. I was like, what do I call? Hey, Mr. Fresh. Stupid hang up. So I start talking to him, and we're on the phone for an hour. And he's like, man, I saw the video. I love your sound. I love your energy. Like, I want to bring you on for this. And I was like, we're going. Let's do it. So load up the car. I start shedding that. I had like 3 to 4 days to just play nothing but the beat from Teach Me How to Dougie. I mean, like, and a lot was riding on that. I was the only live musician on stage.
Oh, my God.
So it was like me, all the hip-hop guys, and then the DJs. So, I'm shedding it. We get to New Orleans. I get down to the Superdome, and, I had some time to, like, take it all in. I go into the Superdome. They're, like, setting up the stage. Nobody else was there, and I got emotional, man. Yeah. I was, like, looking. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to be down there in front of all these people. It was just super overwhelming. So set up all my stuff, get in the rehearsal room, and it was a long day. It was a long travel day. And everybody gets in there, they got all their swag and shit and like big ass chains. And it's like damn, I gotta step it up, man. I gotta.
Is that why you have that chain? Yeah. Like, I gotta get this.
I took notes. So, I'm just like overwhelmed. I'm like, all right, here we go, man. Like this training, like all these years in music school, it's like, I got to lock in. Like I got to, there's a reason. He could have picked anybody in the country, and this dude chose me, and it's like, my dad is a big hip hop guy, and he was just like beside himself. He's like, you gotta seize this moment, man. Like you gotta just remember, what you're doing it for, who you're doing it for. And it was nerve wracking, like being in that room, and he's like, all right, play, man, what do we got? And, I crushed it. And, the guys are like kind of on their phone, they're looking up, and I'm like, oh, shit. So I got some approval. It was good. But, man, he threw me for a loop in that rehearsal. So Dougie Fresh is like pretty much started beatboxing.
Okay.
Like he's the guy that like sort of coined that, and like early on, and he's incredible. He's played with everyone. He's played everywhere. And so he was doing like a whole kind of like Simon Says call and response thing. So he would like beatbox and then want me to play back, like exactly what he was doing. But I only, I didn't have a full drum set. I had like bass drum, tom, kind of like what we did here, a very similar setup. So, I don't have my feet or anything. It's like all hands. And man, I kind of fumbled some of that shit. I'm not going to lie. And I was like, I got so down on myself, bro. I went back to my hotel. My wife and my mom came with me, and I was like, let's pack up. Let's go home. Like I got super dark. I was like, I don't deserve to be here. Like it was rough. Yeah. And it was like, 1 a.m. Like it was a long rehearsal. I was tired. I called my dad. I was like fucking crying. I was like, man, this is rough, but I got to pull it together. So next day we had sound check. I was like, all right, lock in, baby. And so we get on stage, which it's like, I felt that. And you just look up and there's just seats up there. And I'm like, all right, all the OGs on stage. And I killed that shit. Sound check.
Let's fucking go.
And all eyes are on you because you're like the one white guy on stage.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty sure I was like one of like 10 white people there.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and red beard, I was, people were like, you're that guy. And I was like, yep, that's me.
You got me.
So, sound check was great. And then, we get ready for the show, and he pulls me aside. We're like 10 minutes before we go on. He's like, all right, man, I want to change some things. I'm going to do this. And I'm just like, just trying to focus, man. Like he's throwing me for a loop, but I was ready for it. And he got a sense of that. Like I said, this guy has played with everyone. So, he trusted me in those moments before we went on stage. He's like, let's do it. And, so I wait for my cue. I walk out on stage on my platform, and, waiting for the DJs, waiting for the cue, and I just hit it. And it was crazy, man. Like in that moment, I kind of just like blacked out, didn't care like how many people were out there, just played my heart out. And
were you nervous going into it?
A little bit, but I was like backstage, doing push-ups, jumping up and down, just trying to hype myself up. And my wife and my mom went, and my wife's like, "Are you all right?" And I was just like, it's like game time, baby. I had to like psych myself up, and I loved it. So with that, I didn't know until the day of, it was live streamed on Hulu. So they like back home, my dad and a bunch of friends, they had a watch party at home, and they projected, a couple million people streaming and watching it on Hulu. Bro, that camera was like right up in my face. Like if you see some of I have some of the clips, and I see that camera guy coming in. I'm like, oh shit. So yeah,
you're out there.
Yeah, and there was really no room for error. You know, like I said, I was the only live musician, and for a drummer, when you're playing, behind a singer, a front man, guitar player, a bass player, like you can kind of hide and you kind of know your role, but it was like spotlight.
You are the role.
And it was wild, man. I got off and I was shaking. I was just like, what just happened? Like,
yeah. Did people cheer for you?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
That had to be sick.
So
did did the following go up a lot after that event, or was it more so like, not, I mean, it's not like they've got like your fucking @name on the TV or anything like that.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So it's like they'd have to actually do some deep diving and find you. But did you think that like made a little bit of a push?
I think so. Not like something substantial, or it didn't just like skyrocket from there. But it was more so for me, and going through a big festival and performance like that, I kind of proved to myself like, all right, like I've always wanted to do this and live in that moment. And I did it, and it was not easy. But even, my years of training and, I have a master's degree in percussion, like some of that stuff doesn't matter in those moments, man. It's just like you can either do it or you can't. And like wanting to do it and just living in that moment, like it's crazy, man.
Yeah, dude, I salute you. That shit's insane because it is one thing to post these clips on Instagram, and I do want to dive into like the basics behind this because I have a ton of questions in that area, but it's a totally different thing whenever you get up there and if you fuck up, everyone sees it. There's no hiding it. You aren't clipping this out. You know what I mean? There's no retake. Like, this is it. And so, I mean, just me and Joey trying to play the drums after you got done. It's like, bro, I couldn't even hold a fucking rhythm. I'm only playing two different things. It's like, bro, seriously, like that shit is fucking insane. And I do feel like the Teach Me How to Dougie beat it's got to be an easier one for you, considering it's not like super fast paced. I would just assume for like a professional drummer that would be one of the easier beats, especially with it being something. It's like, I mean, that rhythm is ingrained in my head.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Like as soon as you started playing it, I was like, okay, I've heard this one before.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude, the pressure, like, it's got to be fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
What was during that moment? Did you feel like starstruck by anybody that was there?
I mean, before we went on stage, we're in the green room, and I'm just like, all right, do I look cool? All right, what do I do with my hands? I don't know.
Yeah.
But all of them, they knew how to dress. I had like, what I have, like my D Wade Miami Vice basketball jersey and stuff. So I looked the part. It was cool. But these guys got like the real jewelry. Slick Rick only has one eye. He has like a diamond eye patch, and just like these guys started the big jewelry. I was like, shit, I got to step it up. So at one point, Dougie Fresh, he's like, yo man, he's like, what's your stage name? And I was like, these guys are like killer whatever. I'm like, oh shit.
Greg Hersey.
Yeah. So, I think he kind of gave me the name like Prodigy, and I was like, all right, that's cool. That's tough. That's good enough for me. But, I don't like go by that or anything. But
You think you're invited to the cookout after that performance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Prodigy's his gamer tag now. Like, he has never let it go.
So I'm like sitting there in the green room. They're all getting pictures because it's like basically a reunion for them. And they're all like, they're all bros. And, I'm sitting there. I'm like taking pictures of them, taking pictures. I'm like living in this moment. And he's like, yo, my man, get up here. And I was like, oh, shit. Got to flex, do some push-ups. Like,
look big.
So I have the pictures and, I look pretty hard there. I'm not going to lie. It was tough. And I had to in that moment. I'm not going to be like smiling, giving a peace sign. Who was it? Wyclef Jean came by from the Fugees, Juvenile. It was just like a bunch of people. Missy Elliott, Salt and Pepper, Lauryn Hill went that night. I mean, it was just like, and I think I didn't get to see him, but I think like the next night, Lil Wayne came on. It was just like,
you missed Wheezy.
Yeah, yeah. So, but man, it was just like, it was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And I was just, again, trying to live in those moments. And
you were probably on such a high for so long after that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. It was relieving, like the next day, like I felt great about it. And, watching some of the clips, like it's dope, man. I'll remember that experience forever.
For sure.
Sick,
And like I can't imagine afterwards going through like the videos from other people that they're like post on their story, or just like going back and watching yourself on the Hulu live stream. Like, bro, it's got to be fucking gnarly, bro.
Yeah. And, my dad sent me that night, and I'll show you the clip after. But, like I said, they zoomed right in. He's like, holy shit, this is happening. He's like, there he is. And I mean, it was like right up on me. It was awesome.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, shout out to you. So I want to jump into the Instagram side of some of this stuff, because the clips on Instagram are so engaging. The way I literally came across you was just from my For You page. You just happened, one of your videos popped up. And I was like, damn, this dude, like I had no idea you're from Jacksonville. You know what I mean? Didn't recognize the theater you were playing at or anything. And I just got stuck in the loop. You know what I mean? Just like once you went on your page, I was like, okay,
it's a deep rabbit hole.
Oh my God. I know you went through that shit.
Boy.
As soon as I sent it to you, you're like, bro, I've been staring at this guy play drums
I
for the
haven't
last
left.
30 minutes. But no, they're so engaging, and just you're so talented, and you can tell that like your stage presence is next level. You're extremely comfortable behind it, but you also do a good job of like exaggerating your emotions a lot. You know what I mean? So
it's like a performance.
It is like a performance, like even for the clips on Instagram. So are most of those clips, are those first take? Like, are those like one take and you're knocking that out?
Nah, man, very few of those, if any. And honestly, like, doing the Dougie, like that was one that took me the least amount of time, least amount of effort, and it was like one of the biggest videos. Like, oh shit,
Yeah,
of course,
that's how it goes.
And then I go like the next week, I'm like planning it all out and set all this cool stuff up, and it's like definitely not as high of engagement. It's like shit. But I through that process, like I kind of know what works for me and kind of checks the boxes of, all right, my timing was good, the overall sound, like I treat it as if I'm in the studio, like my quality of sound, and that goes back to like music school of just like a lot of that stuff is very nuanced, and I know like what I want to hear. So it's really for myself, and it's great practice to just like play consistently, put on a performance without like being too showy. Some of those guys are like flipping sticks and doing all the crazy
Sticks are
stuff.
on fire.
Yeah, and I mean that's cool, like for whatever you're doing, but it's definitely not my vibe. Like I really focus on the sound, and obviously I don't want to be just like sit there and like a stalemate and just like play. It's like plenty of guys do that, and it's great, but try to incorporate a little bit of everything. But
for sure, yeah.
I think with an average video, it'll take me anywhere from like 15 to 20 minutes to like get the take that I want.
Okay, yeah. See, still.
We've been there.
Trust me. There's a lot of times with this podcast where we'll like start the intro and then we'll be like, all right, let's run it back over time. You know what I mean? Just because we are perfectionists with it. You know what I mean? Like we want everything to look crisp. We want it to look clean. And I get that same energy from you as well. I mean, even when we were doing the sound check session, you could tell you were kind of like right before you started, you would like in your brain kind of run through like, okay, these are the counts and everything like that. Growing up, did you have any like inspirations in the drum world? Like obviously there's so many big names out there that are killing it, but who do you think you kind of like emulate your style off of the most?
Oh man, that's tough. Like even now, like so much of that has changed. There's so many killing musicians out there, and I feel like my sound and style is constantly evolving, and that's what keeps it fresh and authentic as an artist. Of like just trying to pick up small things from a lot of touring guys and studio musicians, and but I have to give a lot of credit to my dad of just that's how I started, and the whole idea of leaning into hip hop and all the music with that and drums, and like the drum parts specifically in hip hop, like that's just what I naturally lean into, and alternative, and I'm a big like Rage Against the Machine fan. Like for drum set, like I love playing just hard. I played in a lot of like metal bands and stuff, and in Ocala, one of the bigger bands that has come out of there is A Day to Remember, and they've played all over the world.
They're from Ocala?
Yeah.
No way.
That's insane.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I watched them. They played at this little venue downtown Ocala called the Capitol, and it doesn't seat anybody. Everybody's standing, and it's just like everybody's moshing and stuff, and anywhere from like 100 to 200 people, and then they just blew up, man. They took off. But I'm good friends with Alex Shellnut, the drummer. He came out to one of my shows in Orlando, and we connected, and he's like, dude, I totally didn't even realize like you were from Ocala. And I was like, yeah, man, like I remember seeing you guys early on, and so it's really cool. But I would say definitely my dad, Neil Peart from Rush, the drummer from Rush, and that's
For sure.
He's inspired a lot of drummers. Like you can ask probably 50 drummers, and I would say at least 40 of them would mention Neil Peart. Just one of those guys that for a 3-piece band, like he is the band.
Mm-hmm.
What about Travis Barker?
He's great.
Yeah.
And I grew up in that era of when Blink was really big, and he's still just throwing down, man. Like,
Who's a Slipknot drummer?
So
the old one, because I know they just got a new one.
I think the original was Joey Jordison, I believe, and then it was Jay Weinberg, and now it's Eloy Casagrande, and he's nuts.
Really?
Like if you watch like any of the new Slipknot clips, the guy from Brazil, dude, he can throw down.
Jeez.
Like I would say like. I'm not a huge Slipknot guy, but that guy can play, man.
Yeah.
Do you like study drummers? Like, so do you follow any? Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
would never be able to name the last 3 Slipknot drummers.
Oh, no, for sure. 100%.
I mean, I feel like that's a big part of just, being a musician is, I tell my students all the time, like, it's not just about playing. Like, you have to be a great listener, and you got to study it, And with the resources that we have, you know, you can look up anybody, anything in 5 seconds on your phone. Like, it's just sort of endless. So why not? You know, you need to be able to know, you know, these drummers from different eras and up and coming, and it's almost too much, you know.
For sure.
I think at one point there were like these core drummers that, you know, a lot of people knew about and were doing great things and on tour, but now it's honestly hard to keep track. There's so many killing like musicians out there and drummers.
I didn't really like ever pay attention to a lot of drummers like growing up or whatever. I mean, I would listen to bands, but it was I wouldn't really pick up on like the drumming aspect of the song or whatever. But it was funny how you mentioned hip hop, because it's like in reality, like a lot of hip hop beats are like, you know, dominantly like drums. Like the drum is like the dominant instrument in the beat. Especially
is it 808? Is that a drum?
Yeah, so a lot of that is electronic. You know, you go back to, you know, the 70s and 80s, they were using real drums, and some still do, but a lot of it is like programmed drums or, you know, through a keyboard and stuff. So that's kind of my thing, is I'm trying to emulate those sounds with like real acoustic drums. So, you know, like the specific drums that I'm using and cymbals, it's trying to capture the nuances of that electronic sound, which, you know, is different for me. And I feel like people kind of have taken note of that, of, yeah, I could easily just throw up like an electronic pad and get like the exact sounds, but I'm getting pretty damn close with like the actual, like, you know, you saw that curved clap stack.
Yeah.
To get like that crispy 808 like clap sound.
Yeah, I was going to ask, and it's totally like sidebar. Why are there stacks on the cymbals? Like, why do you have layers of cymbals?
So it really depends, like, and that's how you get that really tight, like articulate sound. I mean, they make all sorts of crazy shit, man.
Why are there holes in it? Like, there's so many different things.
I know,
about
when
drums.
he started opening up his set, bro, I was like going through it like,
why do you have all this?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, you know, the different like types of, I would never picture a cymbal to have holes in it for one, but then the way that like each of them kind of do have their own sound. Like when you would hit it, you could tell that there's definitely like a noticeable difference. And then one of them, when you would hit it really hard, it would almost have like an echo to it, where it would like kind of fizzle out. The one that was like on the left-hand side of you, that was like stacked up with the holes on it. That was dope, bro. Because it's like whenever you hit it, you then go on to do a couple other different things, but you can still hear that cymbal, like, you know, that vibration like still coming off of it.
That vibration.
I don't even know the proper terminology, but
you can hear the vibration. It's still going.
He thinks we're so like amateur right now, bro. Like,
we are.
True. You did mention too, like how you played in a metal band. Are you playing in a band right now?
Not like exclusively. I just kind of play with a bunch of different artists in Jacksonville, kind of whoever needs me. I do a lot of like weddings and stuff, and some corporate stuff. You know, I've played at like the Jag Stadium, you know, weddings in St. Augustine, Jacksonville, St. Simon's Island, Jekyll Island. So that's fun. And being able to network and play with local musicians, and, you know, the wedding scene is fun. And with that, it's always a different group of people. And so it's just pretty much a pool of musicians, and they just kind of stick you guys together. There's no rehearsal. You just, you get this set list and you show up, and it's pretty much assumed that everybody has their shit together.
That's crazy.
They're all pros, and it's always funny. You know, we're at a wedding, we're just like, you know, kind of getting that chemistry, feeling each other out, and we're playing, and you know, people are like, "Oh, you guys sound awesome! Like, how long you been playing together?" It's like 2 hours.
I don't even know this guy's name.
But that's always fun, and so the wedding band stuff is really cool, and it gets a little stressful.
Have you ever met up with a group and somebody can't play? Like somebody's just, why are you here?
Oh yeah. You get people that, you know, show up maybe unprepared or haven't learned the tunes, and it's, you know, it's kind of a bummer, and you know, it just.
Does everybody else kind of have to pick it up because that person doesn't know what to do?
In a way, I think in those moments you just try to get through it, and you're like, all right, man, see you later. Probably not going to play with you again, but you know, and in the music industry, like sometimes it's cutthroat, and it needs to be that way. You know, if you're providing for yourself and this is your living, you know, professional musicians, like if you're doing the thing, like we take it seriously, as you should with any career, any profession. So, you know, a lot of time and energy and love is poured into that. So, you know, when you're at a gig and you're getting paid a lot of money and the expectation is not met, it's like, it kind of sucks, man.
Yeah.
And it brings everything down. So, that doesn't happen very often, especially in that setting. If you play with some rockers, it's like, I don't even know how to read music. It's like, all right. But they've been playing for like 30 plus years. It's like, all right.
Tell them to play something, they'll play it.
Yeah, there's some balance with that. And at that point, if I'm in a situation like that, I acknowledge that. And it's like, all right, well, maybe they're not the best, but, those are moments where you kind of have to leave your ego out the door. You play, as long as you're just, a good hang and a nice person and you're genuine, like, that's how you get through it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
It's cool too, because like, I feel like whenever, like, let's say you're playing at a wedding or something, these are just like normal people here. It's not like they're here to see y'all, like y'all's band specifically. Like they're here for a wedding, and their standard for music is like Green Day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or something like they have this like standard in their head where they're like comparing you to like the best of the best because that's just what they listen to.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be like very difficult to sometimes try to meet that standard and try to like, impress them when there's like, they're just used to these giant bands.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, shout out to you, bro.
I mean, like, crushes, so I'm sure they're impressed.
No, I'm sure they're impressed. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just like, it's got to be very difficult to like go into that, like in your head, that like these people aren't here for you. They're here to like listen to you guys play a cover of a song that's like one of the biggest songs in the world or something. Yeah. Is there any songs that you absolutely hate covering?
Yeah, I got my list. Sweet Caroline is number one. Fuck that song. I hate listening to it. I hate playing it. I sabotage it. I just play like really loud, obnoxious, and I get through it. And I try not to be a crybaby about it. But
that's hilarious.
What about it? What do you not like about that song?
It's like the
It's because he likes rap music.
Well,
come on.
True, but I mean playing it. Like, what about playing it? Do you dislike? Just it's overplayed. Like that song has been played a million fucking times.
Yeah, and it's become like the national anthem for like drunk white people. And it's like, all right, guys, like we get it.
You got to see the whole image as it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I try not to be such a bitch about it, but I still, See, that's fun for no one. I'm sorry.
No, facts. And it does kind of, it is extremely obnoxious. I'm definitely a Sweet Caroline hater.
Yes. We've been in the club.
Oh, no. I've sang it.
We've done it.
And brother, how drunk were we? Thank you. No, it is definitely the national, like, drunk white person anthem, without a doubt.
Unfortunately.
What's another one?
Oh, I mean, that one would be it.
What's one that you absolutely love? Like, do you have one where you're like, I could cover this song all day, and you can't say, teach me how to Dougie?
No, well, I don't love covering that. I do what I need to. It's fun.
That gets the views, okay?
True, facts.
Honestly, with like wedding band specific stuff, if we throw in like a, what is it? Is it Montel Jordan? This is how we do it, and then we'll do like a mashup of something. We'll throw like some Biggie in there, and it's like that's when I'm like, oh,
really
here we go. And I just, the band locks in with that.
See, totally on the opposite spectrum of.
Facts.
That's why he hates that song, because he'd rather play whatever, Biggie.
No, for sure.
I mean, there's a lot of good ones, and with the wedding stuff, we'll start with like some oldies and like the dinner set, and then we turn it up for reception. There's a lot of Bruno Mars and, when you're playing with a different group, there's just a different vibe with, everybody individually. So, we'll speed up some things and slow it down and just kind of, with there not being a rehearsal, we're just playing.
Yeah.
And knowing the tune and maybe taking some risks and having those musical moments for on stage, it's fun for us. Like, the crowd could give a shit less. As long as they're having a good time and they're vibing with it, great. But for us, we're like kind of living in those moments. We're like, that was nasty. And then we go on to the next song.
Do you guys have in-ears? Like, are you talking to each other or no?
It depends who's leading. More often not. We'll just have like monitors and just kind of just play. Yeah.
Dude, it's dope, man. I think that there's like so many aspects to different genres of music where the drums are extremely important, obviously. But what about country?
Do
you get down with country like that? Like, do you mind playing a little bit of like some country music?
Nah, and No, I love country, and it's like I think I grew up just like I don't like country, and I mean it wouldn't be like
me. Literally, was that me?
I thought you were over there.
It wouldn't be my first choice of listening, but I've, grown up to accept it and like it and find different country artists that are like doing the thing, man. And I have a different level of respect for it. When I was in school, like I was really into like the whole Nashville scene and like the Nashville drummer scene of just like pocket playing really, solid, thinking about like playing loud. And I was really interested in that of, trying to get on tour with like one of these Nashville touring artists. And that would have been dope. And it would still be cool. It's just a different like style and genre to play, specifically, drumming. It's not as technical as hip hop. It's about like thinking about every single note that you're playing. Like every kick drum hit needs to be just like in your face. Every snare hit, like those guys are machines.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of those guys that, have just done it and they do it so well. So I can get down with country, especially, it's not very often. I was just talking to my students about this today. It's wild. Just like country music in general and playing, like, I dig it. Like, I can get behind it for sure.
Yeah. There's not really a lot of drums in country, is there?
Oh, no, there definitely is. Are you kidding me?
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, because whenever me
It's
and
a lot more
Joey,
bandy.
we went to Nashville to go and interview some country artists.
Oh, we
And
know
at this
about
time,
Nashville.
we were very, the listeners, please, y'all forgive us, the listeners of this podcast that have heard us talk about Nashville for the past 6 months. But no, we went up there to interview like a couple of country artists. And so we had a couple of nights where we would go out and listen to these live bands play. And my respect for anyone that can play a musical instrument went through the fucking roof, bro. Just because when you see it live, like there are times where we'll go to like Lynch's or some of the places like out at the beach bars where they'll have a live band there and you'll kind of watch them for a second, but like you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
But when you're in Nashville, bro,
Nashville's just a whole nother level.
every single bar has like these top tier like musicians.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like, it definitely gave me like a
we
whole
were
different
really
kind of
we were
respect.
pretty drunk, so some of them could have sounded better.
Oh,
than
no,
what
we definitely
they were,
did some
but
duh.
we had quite a few of those.
No, but for sure gave me a newfound respect for anyone that can play an instrument, you know.
Have you ever done reggae, like steel drums, anything like that? Because that's a cool sound to me.
I mean, I've like played on a steel pan, but never like a gig, and as far as reggae, not very often.
Yeah.
I think I sat in with one of the bands on a Royal Caribbean cruise that was like out at the pool, and I was like, "Hey man, I play drums. You sound great." He's like, "Come sit in." I'm like, "All right." That was cool, but it's not very often I get to play like reggae stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's cool. And, to that point with like country, reggae, anything like that, what I've really tried to work on, going through music school and still continuing is just being versatile. I don't want to coin myself as like just the hip hop guy. Like I can get down with metal, I can get down with country, like reggae, like the versatility aspect of being a working musician, that's vital. And it opens up so many different opportunities and gigs, and you just never know where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the guy that's on Instagram that'll play like, I don't even know what kind of guitar it is, like it might even just be a ukulele, where he'll like link up with a rap artist and play the song just on his ukulele and the rapper will sing it.
Okay.
I feel like you could totally do that with drums.
Okay.
If you saw the guy, like if you saw one of the clips,
yeah.
you would know exactly who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like he'll get with like a huge rap artist and then he'll just play their song on his ukulele, no other instruments.
And they're
no
like
beat.
walking down the road. It's like a vlog type thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
That's
dude,
cool.
I mean, I feel like there's so many different artists where you could collab like that.
Yeah.
Have them do the vocals, then you just handle the drums, and then that's just the only two aspects of the song.
If you were to if you were to do street interviews like that, what drums do you bring? Because like you'd have to have a bass, yeah.
Yeah, so like being mobile with drums, like you can obviously do like a marching bass drum and then like, throw some clips on it to get like a cowbell or like a tambourine, stuff like that. So it's a little trickier with drums, but a lot of these companies just make all sorts of crazy shit and you can get pretty creative, especially when we're talking about like New Orleans and like, a lot of those guys are mobile, and that's kind of where it started of like, having a marching bass drum or a snare drum, and they'll put like a cymbal on it so they can, do their New Orleans second line music. And there's all sorts of stuff out there.
are playing drums, like, is that an expensive hobby to get into? How much, like, for example, like how much maybe like ballpark was the set that you came in with today?
With that, not much, because I get a lot of it, through the companies that I work with and endorsements. So
Sure, but
I'm
if they
very
were
fortunate for that. So I would say with that setup, with everything, you know, because people they just think like, oh, you have to buy the drum. It's like, no, you got to buy the shit to put it on, like all the hardware. And that's where it starts adding up. So I guess in comparison to something like saxophone, you know, a good saxophone is like $8,000 to $10,000
Wow.
and upwards.
Yeah.
But like that setup specifically, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but still, like
Still.
that's still like a very very expensive setup. But
Yeah.
I would have thought it was way more just because of like all the pieces you were talking about, like how you're setting all these things up and all the hardware is like so sturdy, like you're beating the shit out of these drums, you know. So it's like it's got to be like holding on there tight. I noticed when you were doing the sound check, one of the cymbals or whatever it was, like
Every time you hit it, it'd do a little.
yeah, it would scoot just a tiny bit. And I'm like, oh,
And you
don't
just
hit it
keep
too hard.
smacking it there.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's. Have you ever broken a drum before?
Or
Oh, yeah.
stick.
Sticks, you know, come and go. That's kind of easy to break. And that really just depends on what you're playing with. That sort of stuff, like I'm not really laying into it as much. And, you know, sticks are pretty durable. Drum heads kind of come and go. That's why they're not super expensive. So like an average drum head, you're talking $12-15.
So
Okay.
a drum head, like you have the drum, and then I'm assuming the head is the top part, and you can just replace that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
so it's like a tire on a car. You know,
Nice.
it's like the whole car is not fucked. It's like you just
change
put a new
those.
tire on and you're good.
Has that ever happened to you, like on stage or anything? Like whenever
yeah.
you're really?
Yeah.
And so how do you adjust whenever, like, let's say it's that big.
you just get up and walk away.
I mean, like the big, like
All right, guys, I'm out.
my time here is done. But like that big one you had in the middle, like if that thing went out.
That's problematic.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But if it's one of the smaller ones, you can kind of work around it and like adjust.
Yeah, I mean, so when you're talking like, and most of the work that I do and gigging, it's like drum sets. So you have like snare drum, kick drum, your cymbals. You know, if your cymbals break, that's not good.
Right.
Like those are definitely the more expensive things to replace. And as long as you're not beating the shit out of them, like.
What do they do? Crack or do they bend?
Yeah, they crack.
Yeah.
And depending on where they crack, they can be fixed and lasered out. But you know, if a drum head breaks on stage, it depends what drum it is. Like the kick drum, that's bad. That's a big part of like your sound, and you're playing with the band. Like you're constantly playing that. So I think in a pinch, like if you have like gaff tape, you can just, you know, kind of MacGyver that shit and throw whatever you need onto it and just try to get through the rest of the gig. Hopefully it's not early on, but you know, as a professional, like I try to at least have, you know, one or two like backup heads that I leave in my car. Just worst case scenario, you know, because I've been in those situations and it's not fun, man. You're like, oh shit. And like on a snare drum, you know, like the bottom head is pretty tight, so that will blow out and like it's almost useless. And that's kind of a bitch to change. So that's like throw some tape on there, put some gum. I don't know. Like you got to get creative and just, you know, do what you can. So.
Are there like chains in a snare drum? Something like that?
So they're actually just like metal wires, and they're just snares, and they vibrate. We're going
There
back
you
to
go,
that.
Nick.
There we go.
You know what you're talking about.
See, I know this lingo, bro. I've been doing my research.
You've been doing this.
But you know, once you hit the snare drum, like that bottom head resonates and vibrates with the snares, and it kind of gives that like buzzy sound.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, dude.
There's so much about drumming that I
So
don't know.
much I don't know about. But dude, I really appreciate you like being so like, you know, easy with us. You know what I mean? Like obviously we are very green in this department. But boys, I want to knock out a segment on the clock. This is a new segment we started doing when we got into the studio space, which now we've probably been doing this shit for like 20 weeks or something. But no, dude, this is gonna be dope. So ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Clock. So, Greg, how this is going to work is you got 60 seconds. Joey's going to pull up all the questions right now and pretty much just answer them truthfully. They're this or that style questions, and we'll run through these quick.
all right.
Joey, just let me know when you're ready, brother.
I'm just going to preface this by a lot of these questions, I don't even know what it means.
Yeah, so these do have to do with drumming.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we're going to be asking it. We probably don't know jack shit about this. All right, ready? Uno, dos, tres.
Sticks or brushes?
Sticks,
Studio session or live performance?
live performance,
Click track or raw feel?
raw feel,
Funk or metal?
funk,
Favorite time signature, 4/4 or 7/8?
4/4,
Snare tuned high or low?
high,
Cymbals, bright or dark?
dark,
Single pedal or double kick?
single,
Playing barefoot or with shoes?
shoes,
Most fun cover, pop or hip hop?
Hip hop.
Ghost notes or blast beats?
Ghost notes.
Virality or musicality?
Musicality.
Or musicality.
I got you, bro.
Open-handed or cross stick?
Open hand. No, cross.
Drum solo or pocket groove?
Pocket.
Practice pad or full kit?
Full kit.
TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Drumeo or YouTube deep dives?
YouTube.
Coffee before a session, yes or no?
Yes.
Best collab, rapper or vocalist?
Rapper.
Dream kit, vintage or custom and modern?
Custom modern.
Play for Travis Barker or Anderson .Paak? Anderson .Paak is raw.
Anderson.
Ooh, that was good. And we're right at the 1 minute too, bro.
Good
Good. Those are good answers. Even though I don't know the difference between either one.
Let me ask this last one.
Okay.
Favorite city to perform in?
Jacksonville, baby.
There we go. Duval.
Speaking of Anderson .Paak, that is a crazy pool because he is an insane drummer.
Yeah.
Do you watch him? Do you follow him?
Oh yeah, man. He's great. And the level of respect being able to like kind of, rap and like his phrasing with being able to play, and he's a pocket player. He can play like some flashy shit, but like laying it down, it's just like
it's
there
just
it is.
groovy.
And
You're
he's
just
going. So like, his tiny desk session is dope. But he's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
out,
he's
man.
definitely. Oh my God, yeah.
His tiny
he's
desk was good too.
Definitely a legend, and I mean, he's one of those guys too, where he's just that dude is a unit. He can do so many different things, bro. One of the most talented people on the planet, probably for sure.
Yeah.
But no, boys, you got anything else, Joey?
No, I mean, thank you. Honestly, this episode right here was most excited for it. Like after going through,
Same.
I love drums. Like hearing the high school like marching band dude. Gets my blood flowing, like goosebumps sometimes. So I was really excited for this episode.
Yeah, no, for sure, bro. Like, definitely appreciate you coming through today. And I mean, me and Joey, we don't know a lot about drums, but we know that we love that.
Yeah,
shit.
I love the way it sounds.
And it's cool too because like there's so many aspects of it where like typically when you're listening to a band, like there's so many moving parts in a band, And sometimes I feel like the drummer, since they're usually on the back of the stage or whatever it is, or behind a lot of the people, it's like they don't really get the credit they deserve. You know what I mean? But a band is not a band without a fucking drummer.
Right.
Straight up, bro.
Right.
Like you can maybe do without like certain instruments. You can maybe like interchange and switch out or whatever, but you got to have the drums, bro. In the end of the day.
How important do you, this is off the wall? How important is a bass player? Because like you can barely hear them sometimes, but then if they don't have them.
No, they're important. I love the bass aspect of a band, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
And as a drummer, like the bass player and the drummer, they got to be locked
They work
in.
together.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
not dissing bass players. I think it's cool, but it's like a lot of times.
No,
you
Joey
barely
hates you.
hear
If you
it.
play bass, then you can just go fucking kill yourself because that's what Joey pretty much just said.
That's from Nick's mouth, not mine. Jeez, I like you. I'm sorry.
Easy, brother. Don't be
Can
shit
you
on the
cut
bass community. No, but dude, seriously, like salute to you. You fucking crushed it. Once again, I appreciate you for coming through with the sound check session too, because that one's going. I'm excited about that. I love like just doing as many like unique things with this show as we can, and like, bro, having you on, that's just like another area, another lane that we have not hit yet. So, dude, I appreciate you, man.
Of course, man.
Yeah, of course, bro. So, let's go ahead and let's plug the people in. So, where can they follow you? Where can they follow the journey? Like everything.
I mean, most of my stuff is just on Instagram. That's where I, all my drumming stuff and videos and updates. So, at greg.hersey. That's where it's at, baby.
How do you spell Hersey?
Hersey. If I had that second H, I'd be a billionaire, bro.
Oh yeah, dude, you'd be eating off it right now for sure.
Swimming in chocolate. But,
and then, is there anything new coming up for you, bro? Like, you got anything coming up within the next? I know we were chatting before we got started, and you got some pretty cool gigs coming up.
So actually, tomorrow, what is today? May 9th?
8th.
No,
9th.
Is it the 9th?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. 9th.
So May 10th, Teddy Swims is performing at Daly's Place downtown, and we have a lot of great artists that come through town, which is amazing. Whether it's ViStar, the Jag Stadium, Florida Theater, Daly's Place. I try to hit up the drummers for these different groups, and I shoot my shot. I was like, hey man, big fan of what you do, would love to connect. And a lot of those times it hits, and these people are like, oh man, I've been following you. I love what you do. And like, that shit's crazy to me. And I'm like, all right. Tomorrow I'm going to be meeting with the drummer for Teddy Swims. and we're gonna do a little collab. It's gonna
Sick.
be dope.
You're gonna make a video.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah. We got some stuff on the radar, which is gonna be pretty dope. So
Dude,
stay
that's
tuned
tight.
for that, and hopefully get to meet Teddy Swims and hang with them. The guy's incredible, and just connecting with those artists that are doing their thing. So
That's amazing.
yeah, that's coming up really soon, and try to keep it open, and you never know who's watching, what things pop up. So.
Keep crushing it, bro.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
bro. Seriously, it's an honor to have you on the show,
Yeah.
Dave.
Well,
Like,
thank
for
you.
real. All the OGs that are watching this episode 128. If you guys want more content with me and Joey, you guys can head over to that Patreon. That is patreon.com/OG Sessions. Choose a membership that's right for you, and let's get this thing cooking, baby. And if y'all want to look as sexy as Joey Allen looks right now, where can they go, brother?
OGsessions.com, baby.
Yes, sir. You already know. And then
Yes.
use that code certified OG on there if you guys want free shipping on all those orders. Also, if you guys just want to see a little bit of me and Joey more on your timeline and shit, that is going to be OG Sessions Pod on Instagram, X, and then TikTok is just OG Sessions. So y'all tap in, keep rocking with us. And once again, shout out to the man, Greg, for coming on the show today, brother. It was truly an honor.
Thank you.
Boys, we are out.
Peace.